And we are back at ITB Convention ITB 2024. It's great to have you back at the orange stage. And we are diving into the hot topics, of course, of marketing and distribution when it comes to travel and tourism industry. And now we are diving into the Web3 and what does it mean for the travel industry. And for that, I welcome Lea Jordan back on stage.
Yes. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for being here again, or still. Thank you for choosing us. And yeah, Katie said it, right? Web3, what does it even mean? What does it even mean? I was in my kitchen cooking, and I was really frustrated because I was trying now for quite some years to really understand what blockchain means, what Web3 really means. And I always had the feeling I got the idea, but I would have not been able to explain it to someone. And then I was researching for ITB because I was looking for a speaker being able to set the scene, give us a briefing, once for all, make clear to us what that actually is. And then I had this YouTube video with this lady, and she totally amazed me, so my food was last priority, so we didn't have a nice dinner that night, but I understood finally what Web3 is, and I said, I have to have it at ITB. I invited her, and she said, yes, she's coming. So she is a co-founder and CEO of Travel, a Web3-powered vacation rental ecosystem, but not only that, she does so many things. So look her up on LinkedIn. She's active in so many spaces. And yeah, it's all things Web3 she's doing, and she's also in this whole DAO world. Like, there's a very specific community, right? So I'm absolutely thrilled that she's here with us, and telling us how it works, and we have a fantastic title, as you saw in the program, Unlocking the Next Frontier, Understanding Web3's Potential Once and for All for the Travel Industry. So welcome on stage, Cynthia Huang.
Hey everyone, thank you so much, Lea, for an amazing intro. I need to bring you everywhere with me. So I'm very excited to talk about Web3's potential for the travel industry today. And to give you a quick overview of what I'll be covering, I'll be talking about the connected trip, personalization, and then why we haven't seen that come to the travel industry yet. I'll attempt to give a masterclass on Web3 and AI on some concepts that are relevant for personalization. And then I'll talk about why these two together are the perfect marriage for personalization and why we as industry players really need to think about delivering on personalization. And then I'll end with something really exciting, which is a demo of a product that we've been working on at Travel, which shows personalization in the vacation rental industry. So I want to start with this definition of the connected trip because I think it captures it really nicely. The concept of a connected trip refers to the seamless integration of all aspects of travel, from the initial planning stages to the final return home. The idea behind the connected trip is to create an end-to-end experience that is both efficient and enjoyable for travelers, while also leveraging the latest technological advancements to provide personalized, context-aware services. So I want you to keep some of these concepts in mind as we go through this presentation. So we know what the connected trip is, and what does this actually look like in travel? We've been promised this idea that when we land on a booking site, it's going to know that when we book a flight, that I only like to sit in the window seat and that I never check a bag for something that's shorter than 6 hours. When I travel for work, I only stay at hotels, and when I'm traveling for leisure, I stay at vacation rentals. I only like to eat at places that are very local and within 30 minutes walk from where I'm staying. I love watching shows, but only if I can get a 15% discount. I only take ride shares everywhere, and at the end of my trip, I want an album that I can share with friends and family. And this sounds incredible, right? We've been talking about this for a really long time. It's what we all want as travelers. So why haven't we been able to have this happen in the travel industry? Part of the reason is that travel companies think of the connected trip basically as their connected trip. So they want to provide the end-to-end experience within their own platforms and ecosystems. But this is not how travelers, or we as travelers, travel. We have many, many touch points across the travel journey. So we use a lot of services because that's what's best for us as travelers. And this disconnect between what travel companies want and what travelers' realities are when they're booking trips is why we haven't been able to deliver on personalization. And the other problem is that there's been limitations on the technology side. And this is really where Web3 and AI come in. So I'll attempt to talk about Web3 really, really quickly and about blockchains because this is relevant to the concept of personalization. And I need to start with explaining how Web 2 works. So in Web 2, we have databases, and every company has their own database. Each database is locked, meaning that you need permission to access this database. And even if you do get permission, often you're not getting all of the data. The other problem with databases is that there's no data standard. So the data within one database is often different from how the data is stored in another database. And that means it's very difficult to build across databases. In comparison with Web3, we also have databases, but these databases are what's called distributed and decentralized, meaning that instead of one company storing all the data in one database, it's stored across many, many databases all around the world. And it's also open and permissionless, meaning that anyone can build using that data if they want to. And the most important thing is that when you're building on a blockchain, you're using the same data standard, which means that all that data is compatible, and you can easily build with that data. So you can build lots of different applications on top very easily. The most important thing to remember for this presentation about blockchains is that blockchains are really good at storing a lot of data that is interoperable. So let's talk about AI. Basically, we used to have this concept of narrow AI. So it was very limited. You probably had the misfortune of dealing with a chatbot. That was narrow AI. And what we're trying to move towards is artificial general intelligence, or AGI, which is the ability for AI to be able to learn like a human being. So we have Gen AI right now, but we have to train those AIs. What we're trying to move towards is the ability for it to learn, even if it's never been trained on a problem before. We're still a bit far away from that, but Gen AI is sort of in the middle. And it's important to think about this spectrum, because when we just had narrow AI, without the ability for AI to learn, we didn't have the ability to actually deliver on personalization. And so the technology piece is something right now that is able to deliver on personalization. So I want to talk about some AI techniques that are relevant for this topic. This is not an exhaustive list, but these ones I feel are really relevant. So we have machine learning, deep learning, and neural networks. And this is basically the ability for an AI to be able to learn like a human brain does. Natural language processing, or NLP, which is the ability for us to converse with AI in human-readable language and for them to converse back with us. Computer vision, which is the ability for AI to be able to look at images and photos and be able to recognize patterns and make inferences from it. And then finally, sentiment analysis, which is the ability for them to look at text and be able to infer meaning and sentiment from it, so positive, negative, neutral, etc. So the most important thing to remember for this presentation as it relates to AI is that AI is really good at analyzing a lot of data and then learning from it. So when we have blockchains and AI, that's where we can deliver on true travel personalization. And I want to show you how this works with an example. So going back to this concept of blockchains, imagine if all these travel companies within the industry built on a blockchain. That means that all the data that they have is interoperable across all companies. And so if me as a traveler, I've interacted with all of these travel companies, my data is stored across all of these companies, I can choose to take that data and then plug it into an AI. And then what the AI is going to do is take all of the techniques that we talked about that it's really, really good at, ingest that data, learn from it, and be able to make recommendations. So it can look at all of my travel history and think, okay, well, Cynthia really likes to travel this way when she's traveling for work versus travel this way for personal. She has these kind of preferences. It's going to be able to look at images from trips that I've taken and know that I love hiking because I'm always taking hiking photos, or I love dessert because I'm always taking photos of desserts. So it's going to be able to make these inferences from this data that I've shared. And then it's also even going to be able to look at reviews and understand things that I constantly talk about. So I'm a clean freak. If I go somewhere, it has to be very clean. So it's going to start to know these things. I don't even have to tell it. But based on all the information that I've given it, it can start to make these really, really unique personalization recommendations. And so this is where, using the data stored on a blockchain along with AI, we can really deliver on this vision of personalization that we've been talking about for such a long time. And I think as travel companies, you might be thinking, okay, well, this sounds great for the traveler. Like, for me as a traveler, sign me up. But as a travel company, this seems like it's going to be a lot of work. What's the payoff for me? And this is where the data piece comes in. So today, the traveler journey is that the traveler lands on a website. They share first-party data, meaning all of the data from them interacting with the website is what we as travel companies get. We take that data, we then push out ads to travelers who have interacted with us and travelers who look like that and say, hey, you should book with us. And that's kind of working, but obviously it's very expensive. We all know CPAs are very expensive. But in this world of travel personalization that we're moving towards, travelers are actually going to share zero-party data, meaning they're actually going to tell us, hey, here's all my data, you can take it, and then we will give them a very personalized offer that is very unique to them. And because it's so customized to their needs and preferences, then we have much higher conversions. And so instead of us pushing out ads, we're actually going to pull these travelers into us. So it's a pull mechanism instead of a push. And this is not only much more efficient, but it's much, much more cost-effective. And so there's a very real commercial opportunity for us if we are actually going to deliver on personalization. And I want to end my presentation with something that I'm very excited to share that we've been working on at dTravel. This is an AI meta search that we're working on that will deliver only directly bookable listings and starts to put in some of these concepts that we talked about in terms of the blockchain data piece of it and then the AI.
Introducing Sensei, the first AI-powered travel companion that helps you discover vacation rentals that can be booked directly with owners and operators anywhere in the world. Select a profile, input your travel preferences, and Sensei AI will recommend directly bookable listings. Traveling to a new location, Sensei will narrow down the search, providing you with personalized listings that match your unique travel profile. Clicking a listing will bring you to an independently owned vacation rental site where you can complete your booking without paying commission fees. Embrace a truly peer-to-peer experience and discover listings that can be booked in fiat or cryptocurrencies. Learn more at dtravel.com. Grow direct bookings and access the API today.
So we're going to be working with industry players on developing a standard data standard for the vacation rental industry. If you're interested in learning more about anything that we're working on with Web3, AI, or these data standards, please reach out. Thank you so much.